of Productive Corporation. Alongside me today, physically and virtually, Mr. Pete Greco, our VP of Sales and Technology. We are going to talk about CCleaner Network Edition, the best way to automate your cleaning. But this is the network edition, not the consumer grade. This is the pro grade because we only deal with professional things. All right. So what we are going to do is the following. We are going to meet Productive in 1 minute. I am going to turn it over to Pete Greco for the CCleaner Network Edition. We're going to do Q&A throughout. We'll end with Software We Love. We will do this in 30 minutes or less. So buckle up, technology fans, and let's meet Productive. Who is Productive? Productive is a security and storage software expert for mid-sized companies. We have dedicated account executives with tons of knowledge, so you don't have to wait on hold or navigate the publisher yourself. We offer tons of resources for mid-sized companies, specifically around infrastructure technology. Custom quotes, P-guides, download, documentation, all of it can be found at productivecorp.com. We also produce specific content for the mid-market, product comparison guides, 2-minute tech, P-guides, all of this to give you guys better knowledge and insight on products for the mid-market. All of this can be found at productivecorp.com/content. The bottom line is we have the resources to help you. Help at productivecorp.com, 800-726-4099. We are here to help. And one of the ways that we help, as we've listened to you, we've been doing these for years, is to put on educational content around the products that we sell and the products that we love. You're going to see a lot of screenshots, a lot of interactive stuff. This concludes basically the PowerPoint section of our of our presentation. And feel free to ask Pete any question you want. He loves to be stumped. When he kind of stammers and stumbles, that means he's having a ton of fun. So let's get it started. Mr. Fun himself, Mr. Pete Greco. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a warm virtual round of applause. Pete, you're on. Pete Greco?
Sorry about that. I was muted. Thank you so much. My first comments were please be seated. I'm sure by this point the applause has died down and everybody has taken their seat so that we can get this party underway. Give me 1 second here to get my screen up. And T.O., tell me if you're looking at my CCleaner.
I am looking at your CCleaner.
Oh, that means everybody else is too. So hopefully you guys will find this to be a quick yet thorough demonstration. This product is really quite easy to set up and use. I was actually just reminiscing with our marketing manager, Chuck, about when I taught him how to use it. He was confused because he couldn't figure out what he was missing. I'm like, nothing, dude. It's easy. He's like, that's too easy. I'm like, well, nothing can be too easy, but it is pretty easy. So we'll take you through this. Please chat your questions to Todd. He'll introduce them into the conversation, and we'll get you on your merry way. Bear with me here while we do a little GoToMeeting screen refresh. And I don't know if you guys can still see my screen when that happens, but I sure can. So I have this running. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I basically have a remote desktop session going on here. I have this installed on a Windows 7 machine that is a Hyper-V virtual guest. Does not require to be virtualized or anything like that. Not quite sure. We got just a little bit of a glitch. There we go. We're back. All right, you can put this on a physical machine. I like running it on a server, but I have talked to quite a few folks that are running it from their administrative console. And one of the things that you can do in a recent release here is you can actually make this portable. So we can actually put this onto a USB thumb drive, and you can pull this thing out of your pocket and stick it into any machine that you're sitting at on the network and clean the whole environment or clean a group or do whatever it is that you might need to do or get the visibility that you might need to get. This will plug in with Active Directory if you want to pull in your whole directory structure. What I did is I did an IP range because when we first started using this, we were only running it on the workstations and laptops, and I put all those boxes in a .160 and above, so I just did 160 to 255 and brought in all those machines and deployed it out. So pretty quick, and I'll show you how we do that. So first thing that I typically like to do, and this isn't your anti-malware product, so you're not going to see daily updates, and I don't get in here on a daily basis. But if you have a really big environment, you might get in here a little more than what I do. I like to check and make sure I got the latest updates. Some of the things that are coming down in the updates is not just new features and new reports and new things that they can do, but it's also new paths, right? So part of the goal of CCleaner here is to get rid of temporary internet files and memory dumps and temp files and all this kind of stuff. And when Adobe and Microsoft and all these guys come out with new releases or patches to their products or whole new versions, for example, going from Windows XP to Vista to 7 to 8 to 8.1, sometimes the paths on where this info is kept or hidden or stored changes. And so that's part of what CCleaner is doing is telling you on a Windows XP box that memory dump is going to be in, C, Windows, whatever, and on a Windows Vista box it's going to be in some system folder or whatever, right? So they're keeping you up to date there. I don't do a whole lot from that window. This is pretty much where I live, and to be honest, I really don't even live here because we've got this all set up on schedules. So it's really, I've got it in a set it and forget it mode. But if I need to do something or I want to see what's going on, I'm going to hop in here. Here's where I can see all of my machines. And you can see that I've created some different groups here for my environment. And I've really, to be honest, just created these subgroups more kind of as a demo type perspective just so that you all can see some of the capabilities here. But a lot of these boxes are actually managed the exact same way, so I wouldn't need to put them into some different groups. So what are the policy changes? Just like in your security software, you've got different scans for different kinds of groups. You got different protection settings and this kind of stuff, and it's not totally dissimilar in CCleaner. So take a look at my admin group here. I'm not going to scan and clean histories and cookies, but you come down to my workstations group, and I am. Right? So that's kind of some of the subtle differences. So here's all the things that we can do, and if you're familiar with the free version, this is going to look very similar to you. What you're going to be missing there is the ability to save those rules and the ability to schedule that scan and clean to happen in the off hours or just at a time when you're not actually manually executing it across a whole group of machines. And so I can come in here and make a change. Maybe I want to check off recent documents or whatever, and I can do that as a one-time scan, or I can save the CCleaner rules. That becomes the default rules, and that's what my scheduled scan is gonna use. But just for this one, I could come in here and say, well, we're not going to worry about the recent documents. I'm going to do analyze, and typically what you're going to see is a scan time is going to take about 1 to 2 minutes. In fact, let me pull up my task manager here on my local workstation, which is Pink Floyd. And come on, baby, load up. And here's the CCleaner agent. You can see it's pretty low impact. I'm about 30% complete. It's using about 5,700 kilobytes here of memory. It's a headless agent, so the end user can't do anything. There's nothing that I can do on my laptop to do my own scanning and cleaning or see what's going on or really even see any negative impact. You can see it's climbing a little bit. This typically peaks out at about 10 to 12,000 K, so very lightweight. right? And it's only running when you're running it. So you can see on my machine here, 778 instances, 6,700, or I'm sorry, 67 meg of data has been uncovered. We run this every Friday night, so here we are on Wednesday. Not a whole lot has happened. Almost done. Got a couple boxes that are yet to complete. And then the next thing that I'll be able to do is clean this junk. Let me just get rid of my task manager there. Now, if I'm interested, I can hop in here and see the details of my machine or any of these machines and see what's going on. So do I have anything that's a true bad boy? System temporary is really the biggest one in here. And I can keep drilling in to see what's really going on. This was potentially from the memory dump. I just actually patched my box yesterday. Patches can leave behind a lot of temporary stuff. So one of the things that I definitely like to do is do an on-demand scan and clean after we do our first of the month patching to come back and clean up any temp files that got left behind. And that's what caused me to expand our utilization of CCleaner onto the servers. That's where I really saw a big bump in performance was, well, when we first ran it on some of these machines like our email server here, we cleaned off 17 gigs of garbage off of this server using CCleaner. And the very first thing that I noticed is now my login didn't take 2 minutes. I could remote desktop and log in less than a minute, which made it real quick to make quick changes and just do whatever I might need to be doing. Now notice this is red here. These are green. This one's blue. Let me tell you, and this one's black. Black is offline. Red means that this is actually being managed by a different management console. And we're getting this error here because we actually had to restore our email server a week ago Monday, which was quite easy thanks to ArcServe D2D, but still a headache of trying to figure out why it was down in the first place. And so I just need to regain control over this machine. When it's blue, that means the machine is online, but an agent hasn't been installed to it yet. And so to get started here, I can actually click on that machine or a group of machines, and I can do a remote install from here, or I can create a standalone installation package that I can send out on a DVD or a thumb drive, or I could use a GPO script or some other software push tool to push that out. It's about a 12 meg file for the latest version here. Right? If I'm going to push it out right from here, what I'm going to do is make sure that if I'm running a Windows Vista or a Windows 7 or a Windows 8 that I have UAC disabled just for the installation. Once it's pushed out, we can re-enable UAC for the management and the ongoing utilization. And then it's just going to push it out, and basically we'll have it installed. It'll go into this default group automatically, and then I can move it to any of the groups that I want. If I'm just going to have one scan and clean policy, I don't need to do anything with these groups at all. I can keep them all in one big group. Now, why might I segregate my Windows 7 and my XP boxes? Well, oh, look here. We're done with our scanning. I'm going to go ahead and do a clean here, and we're going to clean all of these boxes. And the clean typically takes about 40% of what the scan time was. So you can see it's pretty quick. So now I've got all those machines knocked out. Back to what I was saying, why might I break these groups out, right? I'm going to have the same scan and clean policy. Defraggler, another thing that I like to take advantage of. I have this scheduled to go for our Windows XP boxes. Windows 7 has a default task to do defragmentation on, I think it's Wednesday nights at 3 a.m. So on the Windows 7 boxes, I don't have the defrag task automatically scheduled, though I can defrag from here. But on the Windows XP boxes, I do. And where this is really added value is defragmentation used to be something that we never did. And we only did it when we just couldn't figure out one more thing to do to speed up this machine before we actually reformatted the hard drive and started over. And so now we actually have defragmentation running on a monthly basis on these XP boxes. It just helps keep everything really running as quick as can be expected, basically. And so what we're really doing here is we're restoring these machines kind of back to a similar state of when we first deployed them, right? And that's what keeps your end users off your back with, my machine's running slow, my machine's too old, I need this, I need that, right? And you can keep them in in a good state. Now, I mentioned earlier I've got this in a set it and forget it type setup, so I'm just going to right-click here. I'm going to hop down to CCleaner. I'm going to hop over to Settings. Here's my Schedule tab, so you can see we're running this weekly on Fridays at 11 p.m. Right? Bunch of different ways you can set this up. At startup, we got some libraries and some student labs where they basically want this to run every time that box boots, just to clean out anything that everybody else has done, keep those boxes running quick, so you can go that route. Bunch of different things you can do there. Let's hop back and start at the beginning of this dialog box, though. Basically what we're doing when we're cleaning a lot of this stuff is we're just deleting the file. When you delete a file, whether you're using CCleaner or your Windows Explorer or whatever, you're really just removing the pointer to it. That's what makes it so easy to actually recover data. You're not actually deleting the file until that disk space has been overwritten. So we can do a multi-pass overwrite if we want to. So if we're worried about memory dumps containing financial data or patient data or whatever, we can do a multi-pass overwrite to make sure that that data is truly gone and non-recoverable. So a lot of capabilities there. We can wipe that space, which basically is going to be a multi-pass overwrite. We can whitelist any cookies that we want. So we were scanning for cookies in this group, but I got a few that I want to keep. Right when I go to Hootsuite, I don't necessarily want to log in every time. iGoogle, unfortunately, is defunct now, so I can get rid of that. Right, but that saved me from having to log in every time. But I'm still cleaning out tons and tons and tons of cookies, but keeping the stuff that I want to see. Now, I can also include a custom group, and that's something that I do on my servers here. So you'll see here, I'm actually running this one every day. And if we go into our custom group, I've got a backup. I've got a CRM system that has its own built-in backup tool. And what it took me forever to uncover, that backup just kept getting bigger and bigger, and eventually got up to 25 gigs when the base file is less than a gig. And what we found out is the backup job's throwing off a 1 gig temp file every time it runs, and then that gets backed up the next night. So eventually I had 20 gigs of temp files that were getting included in that backup. So after the backup job runs, then CCleaner comes along, and it just goes into this custom path and deletes star.back, and then it got my backups down to about 700 meg. I keep 5 of those, so 5 times 25 gig versus 5 times 700, 750 meg, quite a bit of disk savings, right? So a lot of custom stuff that you can do there as well. Anything that CCleaner automatically finds that you want to clean, but maybe you've got a couple of exemptions, we can exclude that here, right, to keep that rolling. So we can exclude files, folders, or registry items. So maybe you got something that looks like an orphaned registry item, and for whatever weird reason you need it to be that way, you can skip over that. Another big break between the free version versus the pro version is the ability to clean all the profiles. So on that free version, you're only going to clean the profile that is logged in. So if someone's complaining about their box, you go over there after they've left for the day, log in as you're not going to clean their profile at all, which is probably where most of the issue, or at least half of the issue, resides. So it's going to give you a much deeper cleaning and really put you, on a good path to make sure you're speeding up those machines. Didn't talk, I guess, about registry cleaning. So if we go back here.
So, hey, Pete.
Yeah.
How often do you take a look at the CCleaner interface? Or are you just getting the reports and it's just, it's all scheduled? How much time does it take you now to kind of maintain what you set up?
You know already, Todd, I'm not a big reports guy.
Yeah.
And so I don't really look at the reports that much. I've got this set up on the schedule, and so truly the only time that I really take a look is when we're doing a webinar like this, or we're doing a custom demo for one of our great customers here. Right? And otherwise, we have this on a set it and forget it. If it misses a week, it's on a week-to-week basis. This isn't going to slow you down so much that you don't know what to do with yourself. And if someone calls in and says, my box is running slow, you log in here, you select their machine, you run a scan. And what I will see from time to time is we've got someone who's got a bunch of issues. They've had an app that wasn't working. It keeps crashing. And they will get a gig or a gig and a half of memory dumps pretty sporadically. But for the most part, if I don't catch it this week and I catch it next week, these boxes are still going to be way, way, way better than from the times when we never did anything, which is what a lot of our customers are reporting to us. So I think you're doing this once a week, once a month. Now, environments are different. You might have a few machines that are special for whatever reason, right? And that's something we can help you strategize on. You're going to be good to go. But it really, this can be the kind of thing that is truly set it and forget it. You're not going to get an alert or anything like that like you need to see with your backup software or your security software. There are a lot of reports in here that you can look at, but this thing really does its job, and it can be very low impact on your IT time. And I know all of you folks, just like me, wear a lot of hats. You got a lot going on. This isn't your one thing. Managing the anti-malware isn't your one thing, and that's what makes this such a great tool to get into your environment, is you can't set it and forget it and let it just do what it's supposed to be doing. What else we got out there? Anything else?
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, the great thing about CCleaner, Network Professional Edition is that, you can do all your scheduling. It's the same great product, but it's centrally managed, and I just think you are showing that, you get it set up, and it really is a set it and forget it. It keeps your environment lean and mean. It gets rid of stuff that when you are troubleshooting or backing up or whatever, all that crap is gone, right? So it eliminates that, saves disk space, helps on a number of things. And go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right on, Todd. I mean, it's been a huge boon to us. When we first put this in, I'd never really heard of it before. I think I was the only guy in the world that had not heard of CCleaner at all. And so I really didn't know what this thing was. So we got it going, and this is about 3 years ago. And we ran it on a laptop and a workstation. And on that laptop, we freed up about 17 gigs. And some of the other stuff that it's doing is it's clearing the cache, right, which helps with boot up and shutdown, makes your applications run faster. And it was really the first time that an end user came over and said, "Did you guys do something to my machine? Because it's running great." I was like, "Okay, it's done deal. we're doing this." I was like, "Well, you don't get that ever." And so it's been a good deal for us, basically. I don't think we've done a deal with a customer who's come back and said, that's really, this isn't taking care of us. Most folks that we're working with, they're using this all the time already, but what they're doing is they're walking around and installing it one machine at a time, and then they're updating it one machine at a time, and they're not really doing anything until someone's complaining. And the challenge is when they finally complain, they've been experiencing the problem for a long time. I know some guys are quick to complain, but for most folks, they've actually been struggling for a long time with a slow system. And that costs productivity and it costs time, and we actually built a little ROI calculator where guys can kind of figure out what's the real cost of a slow machine. You've got a tech out there working on it. You've got the employee standing behind him if he's going to be cleaning their machine. Now you got two folks not being strategic at their roles, right? And so that adds up. Here we can do it anytime. You can do it while folks are working, no impact at all. You saw me run it on this whole group. Every single one of these is a production machine. Every guy is, except for this Windows 8 box, every guy is at their desk working right now. I didn't even think twice about running this thing. Right? You can also do registry cleaning. The reports, you run them on demand. So you can see last report 36 days ago. I run the report. It's been updated. I can come back here and see the previous report. And you can see here, clearly, I do not run this report frequently. Right? So a lot of different stuff you can see. If you see something that's particularly dirty, you can just jump right to that machine and start remediating. All kinds of good stuff you can do there. But I think most folks that I followed up with, especially in the big installations, they're really reporting a similar thing. We log in if someone says they got a slow machine. It's the first thing that we do, but otherwise we got it set up. Talk to a lot of folks that run it monthly. Talk to a few folks that are running it daily, but typically that's kind of that lab environment, shared machine environment, that kind of stuff. Can also do some uninstallation from here. So I'm on this Guns N' Roses machine. I can come in here and uninstall or disable some of these commands or uninstall some of these apps. Works out pretty slick. All right. I mean, that really covers it. Pretty straightforward. If you're interested in giving it a try, talk to your Productive rep. Because we are a master distributor and premier partner, we actually have a fully functioning trial that we can give out. If you go to the Paraform website, you're going to get a scan-only trial. So you can scan everything and see what's going on. You won't be able to clean anything. And that's where you really see the benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pete, I'm going to take back over control, and just rip it out of your hands because that's what I do. At the same time, as I rip the control out of your hands, I'm going to say thank you very much because that's how we do it. It's the yin-yang, a little anger, a little praise. Along with that, we have not only do we distribute CCleaner, we actually have some fantastic bundles going on right now. If you've looked at the calendar, you know the end of the quarter is approaching. Think about bundling CCleaner with one of these endpoint solutions that we love, and we would love to talk to you about that. We have a question that has popped up here, Pete. Let's see.
True.
Do you recommend using CCleaner on a network server or on each workstation?
So we're running it on workstation, laptops, and servers, including, we're a Hyper-V shop. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, and we're running this Windows 7 session that has CCleaner in it as a Hyper-V guest. And I clean both that host and the guests, which most of which are a Server 03 or a Server 08 guest, as well as our physical machines. We didn't start off that way. We proved it out on the workstations first, and then we slowly migrated to that. But I saw just a huge benefit. Don't clean off a lot of cookies on the servers. Mainly what we're cleaning there is temp files and memory dumps. You can go in and get some log data, right, depending on your business. Might not want to get rid of those logs. That could be illegal, right? But you get rid of some of that stuff, and it keeps those servers humming along quite nicely. And so that's where we've seen the benefit, and especially after we do patching on the first Friday of the month. That's where I see a lot of temp files starting to show up after we deploy patches.
Mm-hmm. So, right, and it needs to be installed on every system that it actually needs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, an agent needs to be deployed on each box. It's a headless agent, very lightweight as far as footprint. The install file is 12 meg. You saw the footprint on the task manager. We're looking at about, 5. It kind of depends on the machine a little bit, but it's around 5,000K, right? So very small. At the peak, I see it bump up to 12K during the scan. Once that scan is done, it goes back down. No network load because we're not actually scanning over the wire. Each machine is scanning itself. So it really doesn't create a network load. It sends the results back, which is a very tiny text packet per machine. And so you could really scan and clean hundreds of machines without really noticing a big uptick on the network.
All right. So, hey, I got 3 more questions here lined up for you, Pete. What about when you're doing a defrag? Is that end user going to see a lag in performance when it defrags their PC? The defrag is defrag. It's nothing fancy or special. It's not running any differently than what the Windows defrag, or is it just running the Windows defrag?
Yeah. No, it is its own. Their Defraggler product is their own product. And so you can notice a slowdown. It's going to depend on the system. I do run the defragger at night. and I try and avoid running it while guys are actually working, especially on our XP systems, which are, as you might imagine, not the newest boxes in the environment.
Yep. All right. I'm going to, we talk about mid-sized companies, Pete, and you feel free to throw in on this one. They say, what do we consider mid-sized? We talk about from, 100 to 1,500, right, as a mid-sized organization. That's kind of how the industry defines mid-size, right? Obviously, you get up 1,500, 1,000 computers. You're starting to deal with some complexities. What's the large kind of solution that we've sold? What's probably the largest install we've done of CCleaner? Do you have any idea off the top of your head?
30,000.
30,000. So in that case, works well for very large environments. I would consider 30,000 very large.
Yeah. No, it was definitely huge, and I think that they were running 2 different consoles because they had. It was a school. They had about 1,000 machines that were lab machines, and so the guy that's in charge of the lab had his own console and managed the lab the way that he wanted, and he did the same thing with his antivirus. But then I think the bulk of those machines then were in the other console. So they had it broken up a little bit, so you might say 29,000 if you want to look at it that way. And there's not a problem to have a couple different consoles if your environment really is large and you've really got it segregated. And that's what we see when you start getting into, kind of 500 plus. You're going to have the server guys, the networking guys, the workstation guys. You might have guys in charge of mobile, this kind of stuff. And so you can break it up and let each guy manage it just the way that he wants, or you can have it under, just one massive console. Completely up to you.
Yep. So, hey, and final question right now. When you're deploying that agent, is that an MSI file that you're using on pushing, whether you're using SCCM or GPO or something? I mean, is that?
Yep, that's what you're going to build when you do the oh, I'm sorry, you guys aren't looking at my machine anymore. I was going to demo this. Yeah, when you do that, when you build that package, it's an MSI file. And so, again, you got to disable the UAC if you're using CCleaner to push it out, but as soon as it's installed, you can re-enable that UAC. So that's where we've seen a couple of guys do that as a GPO script. Probably, I'm sure more have. And then part of that script was turn off UAC, launch the package, enable UAC, and they're good to go.
Yeah. So fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. We appreciate you coming. Take a look. Make sure we have your correct contact info. You'll be getting your gift card. And our account execs will be following up. Best way to check this out is to get that full-blown trial and try it out, and you'll see kind of the efficiencies you can use. We know that you guys have tons of stuff to do every day, and one of your big costs is you and the rest of the professional labor you guys have there. So this helps you create a true efficiency. Pete, once again, thank you for a fantastic presentation. And everybody else, have a fantastic balance of your day and week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody.